So Microsoft shared some really exciting announcements at a OneDrive event recently, and I wanted to unpack those, but also to talk about 3 different things to consider and maybe reflect on as we look at this next wave of Copilot capabilities. The first thing to understand is Microsoft shared great examples of OneDrive files having new experiences with Copilot. Essentially, you can right-click on a file and you can choose the Copilot option, and it'll say, would you like to generate a summary of this file? Would you like to generate a frequently asked question for this file? Would you like to ask questions about this file? And that's really helpful because these are prompts and scenarios that are really common that people often want to do, and they save you time. You don't have to open that file to look at the summary and figure out, is this the file you're looking for? You might want to generate a FAQ or ask questions about a file, and right now you'd have to go to the prompt window in Copilot, and then you'd have to put in the slash and then find that file. So these are all really nice because they save time and they help. But one of the more interesting ones was an example where Microsoft showed multiple files. So you could pick 1, 2, multiple files, and then you can compare those files. Now, if you don't know this, you can actually already do that. You can go to your Copilot experience, your home, Microsoft Home or BizChat or wherever you like to use it. And you can say, okay, I want Copilot you to help me compare this file and this file. And I want you to show it in a table based on its differences. And if you gave it that instruction more or less, you'd get the exact same result that you're getting in this new experience within OneDrive. But it's important to understand, going back to number 1, what is this and why is it exciting? It's important to understand that what we're really seeing here is really successful and effective prompts that people can find value in being directly integrated in the experience of how people work within that product, in this case in OneDrive. And sure enough, in other places as well. We've seen this already in Outlook, but it may have been overlooked, but especially in a more recent announcement with Copilot Pages. So in Copilot Pages, you have this ability where essentially you can have a prompt discussion. It's already live in most environments today. And so when you're having that discussion, you can actually go and edit it in Pages, which creates the result copy, the response copy, now in a loop-like component. Now, this is really helpful for lots of reasons, right? One, it's really hard if you have lots of chat history with Copilot, lots of these conversations. It's hard to remember where everything is. So it's just great for personal organization. A lot of times the prompt responses are useful even before they've been turned into a business document or something more authoritative. But there's another reason it's useful. It also makes it so easy now to collaborate on prompt results before we put it into an authoritative document. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because in that same OneDrive event, Microsoft also showed hints of what's coming with things like the ability to take a prompt result and then say edit in Word, which then generates the Word document for that, simplifying the process. So I don't need to go generate the Word. I don't need to go, start that process. I can immediately start to use this in a business document format. Very similarly to the edit in Pages example that's live in your environment today, or at least most environments. So why is this really important? So I mentioned one. One is that it's really helpful and it makes a difference and it's valuable. But the reason this is important is because this makes Copilot more accessible to more people. Not everyone is comfortable trying different prompts, and even with the prompt libraries and the suggestions and everything else, it can be hard to get started. So now people can start to see what Copilot's capable of, like comparison of files, an interesting use case that not a lot of people have probably ever used before this prompt was nice and visible through the interface design. The second thing that's really important about this announcement and can be easily overlooked is what this means for many organizations is that you need to not just understand what's new in terms of Copilot capabilities and best practices for adoption and things like that, but you need to understand how the interface is evolving and these experiences in existing applications are being infused with Copilot capabilities. Now, this is useful for a variety of reasons. One, some of our customers have already done this navigation where they have these, specialized agents that they've been building in their organization, and then they have Copilot, and they're trying to blend them. They're trying to integrate them in the right ways. And that's really exciting, opportunity for most organizations. But I think a lot of these customers that at least we come in later and we talk to, they haven't really thought about the Microsoft experiences. The fact that you can actually bring in, whether it's their own custom agent or not, you can bring in these capabilities directly into the experience of Office, directly into the experience of SharePoint. The custom action option that you see where you can summarize a document in a prompt prompt, that scenario you could do with SharePoint custom actions today. You could just create that little action and then you would create like an experience for it. It would work really well. So there's things like that I think a lot of people hopefully will start to think about a little bit more. Like if Microsoft's doing this, how do we emulate that? So we map to it and we create a similar, like in the flow of work, in the places people expect, they can quickly take these AI actions. So that's exciting. And I think that's kind of point number 2 that's really important. But point number 3 is to think about what this really means longer term. One of the big challenges for those who are trying to innovate today is when you build these great AI experiences in your organization, you're often trying to find those use cases, those patterns where generalized digital assistants like Copilot are having a big impact, a positive impact. And so the emphasis on being able to understand not just prompt libraries and do we have prompt, like Copilot Labs, do we have experiences where people can share those things, but even understanding like which ones are most frequently used, where they're driving impact, that data now becomes more actionable. Because previously we could use that to inform our pilot strategy. It could inform our, business calculations in terms of return on investment and how we look at quality values. Is this just improving productivity or are we starting to see quality gains in processes and things like that, based on individual usage, then based on team usage and departmental usage and so on and so forth. Where we see an interesting opportunity now is that organizations can use a set of simple examples as a way to think about what scenarios they could address instead of waiting for Microsoft months and months later to build that into the experience. What could they potentially bridge with some really simple solutioning to actually bring in these AI patterns directly into the flow of your work? And I think that that's the big opportunity for a lot of organizations as they look forward. It's not just that this is great features and it's exciting. It's not just that, this is going to continue to change and it's something that we need to consider and we need to evaluate and understand so that, we can lead our organizations in maximizing the value of Copilot because again, these are great use cases to help people in early adoptions on usage of Copilot. But the third one, and I think it's really interesting, is what if this could be an inspiration and a reminder that even though today is a bit of a fragmented AI landscape and many customers have multiple AI systems, bring your own AI, a bunch of challenges there, that maybe one way that we can start to solve that is by slowly consolidating these into an experience flow that's directly in those key apps that they use, whether that's SharePoint, Teams, OneDrive in this example, or many others. So I think this is an interesting opportunity to, not just be excited about these new announcements, which I hope you are, but to really think about what they might mean as we look forward and to the evolving landscape of AI at work. Thanks so much for your time, and I hope this was helpful for you.